Hello, and the topic for this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about redox reactions. So cellular respiration is a redox reaction. Anything that is classified as a redox reaction is going to undergo reduction and oxidation. And you're going to have electrons or hydrogens that are going to be moving as part of that, okay? So if we take a look at our sugar here, we'll put that down as sugar, all right? The sugar, oh, that's terribly squeaky. Let's see if we can't do that with less squeak. The sugar is going to be oxidized. To our carbon dioxide. So with oxidation, you've got the loss of hydrogens. This is where sometimes students get a little turned around with redox reactions, because our oxygen then is going to pick up those hydrogens, and this is going to be the reduction portion of our redox reaction. So what you're following here is the movement of those hydrogens. So if something loses hydrogens, it's going to be oxidized. If it gains hydrogens, it's going to be reduced. Okay? That's where the confusion comes from, because when you think about something being reduced, you think about it losing something or getting smaller. But in the case of a redox reaction, the reduction gains the hydrogen. And essentially what's moving there are going to be the electrons associated with that free hydrogen that are going to make covalent bonds as part of that chemical reaction. Okay? So what we've got here, we've got the loss. Let me put this up here. Loss of hydrogen is going to be oxidized. The gaining of hydrogen over here is going to be the reduction portion of our redox reaction, okay? And what cellular respiration is doing is cellular respiration, aerobic cellular respiration, is going to be a controlled breakdown of an organic molecule. And that organic molecule that we're talking about is going to be our sugar here, okay? And in talking about cellular respiration, I'm going to focus on sugar because it's the simplest of the chemical reactions associated with cellular respiration. What I want you to keep in mind is this doesn't just have to be sugar. We're talking about any organic compound. So the lipids and fats and proteins that you take into your diet can also be broken down, and those components can be used in cellular respiration. We're just going to focus on sugar because I don't want to cloud things up too much with the different chemical reactions. So we're just going to follow sugar. Be aware any organic molecule, well, I shouldn't say any, but there are other organic molecules that can be broken down by cellular respiration to store that energy in those components, those organic components you take in as part of your diet, as ATP, okay? Because there are other ways to release energy from things. If you burn sugar, you're going to release the energy within it. But the bulk of that reaction, even more so than cellular respiration, the majority of what you're losing there is lost as heat. And heat isn't a usable energy source for the body, okay? But ATP is. okay? So keep that in mind, all right? And what we're going to talk about in the next steps, or the next set of videos with cellular respiration, are the steps associated with cellular respiration, okay? And I think your textbook breaks it down into 4, and in the PowerPoints I've got it as 3. There's some overlap with some of these that we'll talk about, okay? We've got glycolysis is going to be our first step. At the end of glycolysis, we are going to convert a chemical known as pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. Okay? Don't worry about these names. I'm going to talk about these in more detail. Okay? But glycolysis, what it gets at, this is where we're starting to break down our sugar. Okay? Glyco meaning sugar, lysis means to break something. So we're breaking down sugar. That's going to be our first step. Okay? The products made from glycolysis are then going to be used in the next step of cellular respiration, which is the citric acid cycle. Or you also can refer to this as the Krebs cycle. I'm not picky about which one you use. Either is correct nomenclature. Citric acid is going to be one of the molecules made as part of this process. That's why it's called the citric acid cycle. Krebs, the scientist who described the bulk of these chemical processes was named Krebs, so it's also called the Krebs cycle. Again, you can use them interchangeably. I don't care which you use. Okay, and I tend to be interchangeable with them in the videos and in my lecturing as well, all right? But no, those two are equal, okay? Our last step is going to be oxidative phosphorylation. Oh, squeakiness. Apparently I need to go buy some new markers, all right? Oxidative phosphorylation, again, can be broken down into steps that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the electron transport chain. And we're going to talk about chemiosmosis. So those two components together make up oxidative phosphorylation. And I will talk a little bit about the electron transport chain, and I'll talk about what happens with chemiosmosis. But what is going to be important here, it's this third step that we're going to generate the bulk of ATP in aerobic cellular respiration, okay? And we'll talk a little bit about where and how that happens in the next set of videos. But the bulk of what you're going to make of those 32 ATP are going to be made here in oxidative phosphorylation. All right? Hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions, please let me know.